My name's Martin Kelly. I'm here. I've got the pleasure of presenting to you today on what's social listening and 5 tips to launch a presentation. What I'll do is I'll give you a little bit of an insight into myself. I'll talk a little bit about Brandwatch, give you a definition of social listening, take you through the 5 tips, and then give a really nice case study from Nestle that really did nail social listening absolutely wonderfully. So, first of all, a little bit about myself, and I have written down here, speak slowly. I do have a strange accent. My name, as I said, my name is Martin Kelly, born in Scotland to Irish parents and now live in Australia. Yeah, so I do have a strange accent and I'll try and speak slowly. A little bit of background for myself. I did an undergraduate production engineering and management degree with one subject in marketing. I then did what I call my vagabond jobs. I sold wine in Scotland. I grew artichoke plants in the Middle East. I was a school sock production manager in Australia. Most boring job ever, and play out of everything. And I'm talking about literally working in dodgy shops in Scotland and everything. School sock production was the worst. Then I went back and did my masters and discovered marketing, and I've absolutely loved it ever since. I worked first of all for a sports insurance company, did that for about 11 years, and then moved into SaaS, and I've loved it even more. I've worked in educational software, cybersecurity, automation, and now with Brandwatch. So first of all, who's heard of Brandwatch? Yeah, good. And who uses Brandwatch? I don't really care. I've only been there 11 months, so the only way is up for me. So thank you very much for that. What I'll now do, I'll get the clicker, and hopefully it works. There we go. Give you a really brief overview on Brandwatch. Launched in 2007 in Brighton. We've got over 1,000 staff. We've got offices here in Singapore, Melbourne, and Sydney, and these are fully staffed offices. So they've got marketing there, they've got sales, they've got support, and we support the APAC region. We've also recently merged with a company called Falcon that does social media management as well. So basically, we do social listening. Technically, I'm meant to call it digital consumer intelligence. But when I started in the role, all the sales guys went, Martin, no one knows what that is. Just call it social listening. So that's why my presentation today is on social listening. What we basically do is we help people make sense of the data and help them make decisions. That's going to be a recurring theme in the presentation today. We don't make a decision for you. We give you data, we let you slice and dice it, and we help you make more informed decisions. So what is social listening? I will read the quote just to make sure. Social listening is looking at what people are talking about online, on forums, reviews, blogs, social media, underneath news articles, and on websites, and whether they're looking to purchase or have just purchased something in any other online places. What I will say is if you can think about it, I guarantee somebody is talking about it online. And if they're talking about online, they're potentially talking about your product, they're potentially talking about your brand, and they're potentially talking about your customer, your competitors' products. This has already been said anyway, so realistically, it's quite good if you know about it. Some of the advantages of using Brandwatch is it's the speed and scale. We monitor 120 million different platforms, so that's the scale, and you can get results really, really quickly. I'll give you an example in a few minutes concerning the Oscars. Also, these are people making comments about their own volition. This is not a survey where you ask them, and again, I'll give you another example later on. It's not a loaded question. People are saying these statements online anyway about you and about your competitors, and it's raw and unfiltered. Now, as I said, I grew up in Glasgow and I've read some of the comments online, and I tell you, the comments online are scarier than growing up in Glasgow because some comments about your brand and about brands you know that are raw and unfiltered, you really get to the grips of what people think about it. So what I'm going to do is there's also one other advantage of it. It can really help you know what people think about your business. So I work for a business, I'm not going to name them, but we thought we were a ninja. We thought we could turn on a dime. We thought we could absolutely nail it, and we were really customer centric. And what I used to do was actually do a description. And I've done this for most businesses and brands where you ask them to describe it. Is the brand or is the product a man or a woman? What age are they? What car do they drive? Where do they shop? Are they married or single? And it just gives you a nice visual. This company, as I said, thought it was a ninja, a young go-getter, James Bond type character. And I'll be honest, we used to do a survey once a year. And we'd get those results, and it was really good. We'd all high-five each other. And I'll be honest, it was early on in my marketing career. Realistically, we weren't. But why we got those results is we generally did the survey after we'd run a conference and taken our major customers away for a couple of days to resort, give them a really good sporting activity, wined and dined them. And realistically, it was totally skewed that they were going to ask. What would generally happen is a couple of weeks or a couple of months later, we would meet them and have a proper informal chat. And we were more like a couch potato than we were a ninja. So it can really help with that as well. On a webinar a couple of months ago, I was actually asked, do you need a social listening tool? And the answer at times is no. And I do have some guys in our stall that have just screamed at this point saying, Martin, have you really stood up in front of an audience of potential customers and said you don't need a product? Sometimes you don't. If you have the time to go through and Google your brand, if you've got the time to look at Reddit and subreddit and underused news articles and take all that data and put it together and analyze it, especially in the time of a crisis, then you might not need it. What I would suggest is come to our stall out there. We've got some chocolates, we've got some screen cleaners and stuff. Come and see us and we can help you make that decision. I think a perfect example of this, and I'm totally making this story up, but Will Smith at the Oscars. He's nominated for Best Actor. He's got a 1 in 6 chance of making it. And if you're a sponsor of Will Smith, you're going to have 2 social media messages ready. 1, he wins, and 1, sorry, he didn't win, but unlucky. All set. Then he slaps him. And then he wins. So you're going to have somebody going, do we go out and do the congratulatory story or not? You don't have time at that point to put a story in a survey in the field and work out what people think about them. We can actually help with that. We can actually look at the analysis in real time and see what people think. There's actually, again, if you're interested, come to the stall. There's actually a webinar we did on it, and we showed the timing of what people thought about him at 7 o'clock. And I'll be honest, it changes dramatically. It's something like 7:07 when he slaps him, and then afterwards. But that would be able to give you the data in order to make a decision about whether to post or not. So I've given you an overview of myself. I've given you an overview of Brandwatch. I've given you an overview of social listening. Now I'm going to talk about 5 tips to launch a successful campaign. These are just my opinions. I've put this together. Happy to discuss it with you afterwards. You may not agree. You may agree, but it's just my opinion. So let's get started. First of all, have a goal. Now, I think this is vital for any sort of marketing campaign or any sort of a marketing product or activity. Even us coming here today, we've got a goal. We know what it is, and you know whether then it's been successful or not. So have a goal. The goal can be at an organizational view, at a department view, and even at a product view. So you can have that flexibility. One of the things a really nice example we had was we had an insurance company approach us and want to know what the customers thought of the claims department with when claims were done via flood or via storm. Because he actually came proactively and worked with us in that, we could really help them do that. The data for just generally what people thought about customer service would have been very, very different. But because they came and worked with us, we could help them drill down to that sort of detail. So that's what I'm saying. Have a goal so you know what you're going to do at least at the start. And one of the other ones is don't try and boil the ocean. We'll talk about that later on. But just have a clear goal so you know what you want to achieve when you first go into it. Second one is understand its strengths. As I've talked about, it's always on. If you need data right now, you can go in and look at it and get results right now from it. It's raw and unprompted. Again, this is people that's saying it of their own volition. They're already saying it about your brand, about your company. So you may as well take that and use that data. And it's a speed and scale. When I talked about the Will Smith stuff, they could have got an answer very, very quickly about what people thought about him through the intent data, and then make a discussion, and then make a clear decision on that, even down to the local level. Across from me, the local shops, the local shopping centre, a major store's about to open. They can go and look at the data about what people are asking in the area about opening times, and help make a decision about what time they should shut at. Should it shut at 7 o'clock or 10 o'clock at night? We can help that. So that's again understanding the strengths of the product. Once you're doing it and once you're running it, share the insights. You are going to find some really good insights. Now, what I would say is link it to the original goal. When you're sharing it, when you've got that original goal, what you're answering, as you're getting that data, share it with people so that you can take them on the journey with it. And also at times, let's go share it in different formats. Some people might like an email alert, which is what I'm going to discuss later on. Or some people, when I talk about the Nestle's case study, and some people may purely want it just in a PowerPoint once a week or just in a strict email. But definitely share your insights. Also, you're going to find gold. There's going to be some stuff that you found that you didn't think was possible. Just make sure that you share it with people. But again, come back to, in my opinion, link it back to the individual goals. It's going to really, really help you. Next one is surprise and delight. And it's funny, when I come up with this topic, one of the guys is like, Martin, that's an absolute rubbish topic. Seriously, I'm going to think you're giving us donuts. We're not going to give you donuts, but on our stall, we've got some merchandise, and we've actually got some Nestle's chocolate, linking back to our customer, which we'll do the case study. So if you want to come and get some Kit Kats, please come and see us at the stall. But you're going to find stuff that you never thought was possible. You're going to find opinions on yourself, on your brand, and on your competitors that you didn't know, and you had no idea people thought that. This is going to be brilliant. It really is going to be something. So you will be surprised and delighted. There is obviously the worry that so much data, but you can slice and dice it, and you may end up going through almost in a rabbit hole when you start to look at it, but you will be surprised and delighted. And also, one of the big advantages are, again, direct quotes. If you're wanting to get cut through with management, you can actually say, this is what somebody said. Even if it's just purely emojis that are used, that's going to have real good cut through with people to make sure that people understand. So yeah, surprise and delight. And then finally, time. You don't know what's out there. You don't know what information you're going. You need to give yourself some time when launching a social listening program. You can get it up and going pretty quickly, but you need to give it time so you learn how to use the system, the algorithms get right, and that you know what sort of results can come back. Rome was not built in a day. But again, one of the biggest advantages is that you can support. So this isn't a standalone thing. You can support other data you've got. When you do a survey, you can find out whether it's an anomaly or whether it's a real statistic. When the MD comes in and tells you that he was at dinner and him and all his friends think kiwi fruit flavored ice cream is the greatest thing ever and you should put it in production, you can go and do an analysis and work out whether you actually should do that or whether it's actually just him and some people around the thing. You know, as vegan sausage rolls, the next big thing that you should do is there a total boost in sourdough discussions online, and you should maybe write a blog on it. Do people want purple socks? All of these things you can find out over time, and you can make sure that you are trying to react to that. And some of the times the decision is going to be not to react. And as a marketer, that's one of the hardest things to do. You've got a bit of data, you know what they're saying about you, and you have to make that decision not to. But what we're helping you do is take that data, slice and dice. It's like having a focus group on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's letting you find that data and make informed decisions on that. So, the tips: have a goal, which I think you should have in marketing anyway for any activity. Understand its strengths. You're able to look globally and act locally. Sharing insights. If you want to get buy-in from people, take them on the journey with you. surprise and delight. Sorry, we don't have donuts, but we've at least got some chocolate on the stall. But you're going to find information there that is brilliant. As I said, should you bring in a vegan sausage roll? Should you move your flights half an hour early? What's important to people? Is it that red button that, is it 4 steps on your website that people are forced to go through? Is it a transactional thing? You're going to find this stuff out and you can make a real difference with it, and then give yourself some time in order to make sure that you get best out of the program. I think I'm flying through this, so I'm going to try and speak a little bit slower, but I don't think there's much else we can do. So what I'm now going to take you through is a background to the Nestle's case study. So look, I'm always slightly wary of saying the world's largest food and beverage company, purely because so many people buy each other that I could have somebody in the audience put their hand up and go, did you know, blah, 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 bought this, and we're now the biggest. So I think between friends, we can all agree they're one of the biggest companies out there. So what was our challenge? A huge number of brands and services that attract a lot of attention, both media and online consumers every day. They wanted to monitor online conversations, but in real time, about emerging crises in general industry topics, and food trends. They were looking for a solution that would surface particularly relevant to the topics quickly, and what they wanted to do was get cross-business collaboration in that. They wanted to take the business on the journey with them and get buy-in. So what did they do? And by the way, if you're interested, come to our stall. We can send you a link to this case study. I'm certain you'll find it really, really interesting. So what did they do? Well, step one, they got all stakeholders to build a dashboard with them. They agreed on the sources that they cared about, and at times the sources you don't. There is some places on the website that, I'll be honest, raw and unfiltered, there's going to be some stuff that you make the call not to pay attention to that. There's people on there making statements that you don't care about, but we can help you do that. But they made that decision. And they also talked, about the target groups and the authors. Step two, the focus topics were defined and categorized in some rules that we helped them use in our consumer research platform. And the team used data visualization within that platform in order that they didn't have to make changes every single day. This was a set, and they could do it. Now, they could always tweak it, and that was a decision that they can make, but it's not having to rebuild it every single day. And then the email alerts for internal stakeholders, they set that up. And that's something that when I came into the business, I was really nicely happy about. You can set it that if you normally get 5 tweets a day and suddenly you get 50, somebody gets an email about it, so that you get informed rather than your MD walking into your room and going, by the way, I've heard this scandal's happened because somebody said this about the product. You can find that out. This was the results. The morning briefing dashboard where all internal stakeholders could access the context in which Nestle's brands were being discussed. So this one was, I'm just reading out here, to track share of voice for them versus competitors. But they also track brand health, the campaigns, the competitors, the trends, and the Brandwatch suite helped keeping people up to date with the relevant conversations, again, across the target groups. So I was really happy with this. I just want to read because, and actually this slide was missing, but, and again, I can send you a link to it. It actually had an impact for market research on audience segmentation, influencer identification, in-depth analysis, content platform creation, campaign tracking, crisis monitoring and prevention, brand and competitor monitoring, and enabling, and this is what I really liked about it, enabling a 360-degree of insight into the social data. They really brought everybody on the journey with them. They could make sure that everybody was on one page. And finally, the feedback, and actually I really realized I'm actually going to take the time to read this. By combining social listening data and other data sources, again, it's not just standalone, such as sales and brand health analysis, they created a holistic picture of the performance of its brand campaigns and thus provide the basis for making decisions. Again, I'm probably repeating myself again, we didn't make a decision for them. What we did was we helped them make decisions. We gave them the data and helped them make more informed decisions. So that's me. I will take a drink of water. I think I've maybe got us back on time and spoke a bit quickly. Hopefully you all understood my accent. And I'm happy to take some questions. Over there.
Yep, questions?
Cool.
Hello, thank you so much for the presentation. I'm a non-native speaker and I could understand pretty much all of it, so good
Woo!
job. Question, who is this suitable for? Are there specific verticals or specific brand profile that this will be more relevant to?
Look, in general, it's relevant to people that care about their brand. There will be some businesses out there, and it sounds ridiculous, but don't care. They're a very small niche market that, they know their customers really, really well, and it's a small industry. Generally, B2C cares more about their brand than B2B, but a lot of B2B still do as well. What I would say is it's relevant to most people because very few companies don't care about their brand or don't care about their competitor or don't care about what people think about their brand, don't care about what people don't think about their product or don't care about what people think about or what the competitors or people are thinking about the competitors. But there will be some out there. Again, what I'd say is come to our stall, grab some chocolate and see whether we can help you or not. Anything else?
Oh, that's good. You see, chocolate always make it easier. So many hands. Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
So we use Talkwalker and we're an influencer marketing agency.
So definitely come to our stall and we'll have a chat.
What social platforms can you get data from?
120 million. We can scan just about them all. Again, what I do is come to our stall and we can go through it in detail, but 120 million globally we can look at.
So my question is probably going to be a bit related to that, but it's kind of like obviously so many different sources you're getting that from. How do you actually get that data in from websites, social? How does that actually work?
Is that more probably of a compliance?
Yeah, in terms of like GDPR and everything like that.
Yeah, I'm the marketing guy, but what I'll say is we are ridiculously compliant. That's probably the easiest thing. Again, I'm happy to direct you to the website, but I am more than happy to say we are ridiculously compliant and we don't even come close to being not compliant would be the one. We comply with all laws, but do it really well as well. So it's not the technicality type thing. So yeah.
I have a question.
Sure, mate.
What level of analytics do you provide? Because there are a few layers. So the base layer is descriptive, what happened, and then followed by diagnostic, why it happened. And then of course further up will be predictive, why did it happen? Yeah. So do you have stage 3 and above or just one?
We can work with you, as I said, like stuff like the example I gave about the insurance company. We can work with you to try and find, and that's a preemptive, we would like to know this information. We can work with you to find that. We can do different things like word clouds and stuff to make it. We can do analysis on the raw data, etc. So probably if you give us a go, we can work with you, but also it's about giving you the tool as well so that you can then investigate yourself.
So the machine learning is powerful enough to learn from different case studies and then add to the algorithm.
Yes, it can certainly help you with that.
Okay. Right. Last.
I have a question. So I think this is a really comprehensive sharing about social listening, right? So if I may dig deeper, so do you think that the social listening capabilities for the gated communities, for example, not just the public, right, would be a too important field to miss out if we don't tap into those gated communities? Do you think this is an opportunity that technically feasible to tap into?
So I suppose the easiest thing, and it sort of comes back to the compliance thing, we're not going to look at private conversations. It's that simple. Private conversations are not. And what I've sort of said the whole way through is these conversations are happening and you can go and find them. We just help you to find them. Would probably be the easiest way of describing it. Yeah, there's really interesting stuff happening, but there's some of the stuff we can't find because it's private conversations. Sorry, did that answer?
Yeah, because normally a lot of different I think that's a pain point that a lot of people share, because what we see from public domain, and perhaps that will be a little bit different when, for example, in the pharmaceutical companies, when they want to just focus on doctors in their gated communities like Thermo, how they react to an adverse event might be a little bit different to how the public reacts to it. So I just want to see if there's any insight around that. But yeah, I think you covered it well. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks.